Hello everyone, how you doing? And welcome back to Skye and Evan in the morning. And today Evan, I recommended you a horror film um that I thought would be more Christmas related. The first story
Yeah,
is, the rest not really. um Tales from the Crypt, the 1972 movie. Um, yeah, based off the Tales from the Crypt comics. So it follows a little bit of that aesthetic by going like anthology, bunch of different stories. And yeah, I mean it spawned a bunch of other movies as well that are anthologies like this, and a TV show, the Tales from the Crypt TV show from the 80s, I think, that also was an anthology show. So
well,
yeah.
the way that it's put together felt to me like a TV show. It
Yeah.
felt like a bunch of short, almost like just a seat, like 5 episodes of TV, just
Yeah.
little 20,
Well, it
15 to 20
almost
minute episodes.
felt like one of those movies that have a bunch of guest directors. Like, you direct this story, you direct this
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
Obviously, it was one director only, but I don't know. It was
But there's different
interesting.
ideas. The stories are unique. The
Yeah,
characters are
I
unique.
think it has a very clear sense of morality, like underlying morality under them, like the whole point.
Well,
Oh, that the stories
I
want to
did
get to. So
I did laugh at how that like carry in almost every story there's just like rich fat men in a room with like literal cigars and drinks, like
yeah,
conniving about like the plebs and like businesses, and it's like you get a sense of like it's like yeah, like greed is kind of what this movie's going
yeah.
against, and just selfishness. And I mean, nothing wrong with that, but it's just interesting that that's what connects a lot of the stories, and that's how they present it. They present the characters as being very selfish and greedy. So
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing with this movie seems to be just desserts, I guess. Like, characters get what they deserve. Because
yeah,
like, oh, they do one bad thing and that like causes them to die in a somewhat related way. It feels very it feels like a TV show. It's kind of crazy. Like if the like a Final Destination almost type of thing. Not because their deaths are super elaborate, but like having the like poetic irony of what they're doing, the bad thing they're
yeah.
doing caused their own demise. I think is actually interesting. I don't know.
Well, that's why these feel like just little stories.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's an anthology that feels thematically connected,
Yeah.
where just something, an idea connects these characters, even though they have different stories. But also like the sense of horror that they draw on. It's usually like causing pain to other people, or like it straight up just opens with a murder. Someone
Yeah.
just kills their husband on Christmas, basically, and
I
Santa
wish I
comes to
wish
kill them.
they had shown more about her decision to kill him. That like
I
I think that story
well,
was probably the one I thought was the most underwhelming, because I was like, oh, they're setting it up so that she's gonna have an interesting reason. He's gonna be like an awful husband, even though like he had the present saying it was
well,
a good, but there was like no twist. It was just delivered very straight.
no. Well, and honestly, as well, it's just like why, like money, seemingly. Just she like has the insurance or whatever she takes out of the safe. I'm like, was that it? You just the conniving bitch that just kills her
Her
husband. You
husband,
got a
yeah.
kid? I'm like, I, damn. The kid part was what was the weird. I mean,
Yeah.
it's because,
They wanted
hey,
her
Santa
to
Claus is
open
here.
the
Yeah.
the door for Santa
But
Claus, the Santa
but I'm just
Claus
like,
killer.
girl, it's shocking how cold she is. I mean, there's someone trying to break into the house that she's still trying to cover up the murder. She's like lighting a
I
cigarette
did
with
find
like
that
the
hilarious
ketchup
though, that she
on.
was trying to cover up the murder while the guy was trying to break into the house. I thought that was like
Yeah.
genuinely really great, like really like dark comedy. Just
Yeah.
like, oh
Talk
my
about
god, I
not
need
being able
to...
to catch a break.
Yeah, like hiding a murder, and then there's just a murderer like walking around outside your house. I think that's hilarious. I don't know.
Yeah. I it's an interesting one.
Yeah. Which
they're
was
all
your
different.
favorite?
I don't That's a very good question, actually. Because Peter Cushing is like technically the star of the show, and that was a pretty lengthy one. I'm not that that probably was the longest of all of them.
I think
Um,
so.
I'd probably say that one, honestly.
Yeah, me
That
was
was
I was
because
gonna
Peter
say
Cushing
Peter
there.
Cushing's character is my favorite character in all of them.
Yeah,
I think he's very interesting.
th-
What's it called?
the
Grimsdyke.
dr
Yeah,
the drive, the one it's fairly obvious, like the reveal, but like that was very Twilight Zoney. Just
yeah.
the look, like he's dead and like looks in the mirror for the first time. I was like, nah, like
I did
that was a
think all
really
of
good.
that was so well directed. Like the first
Yes.
person shot, that entire sequence, and just walking around and everyone just being terrified. And you're like, ooh, like obviously, like you said, the twist isn't that like whoa, but I think it's just in terms of filmmaking that was so well done. I really loved it.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
obviously
I
the one person who doesn't notice is because she's blind from the
him.
accident, which I thought was like,
Yes.
she,
Yeah.
that's why she's not scared. Like, that's cool. I really like that one. That's
There's a
the what I
moment
said,
as
and it's the same thing like Roger Ebert thought when he watched this movie, is that it feels like a like the comics. Like it feels like a comic book, like just like a story, like beginning, middle, and end, very short, very like to the point. And that one, especially that story with the car
I
accident,
would
feels that
imagine.
way. Like yeah,
Well, like I said with Twilight Zone, I have no idea what the comics feel like, but it's just short, just conceptual based
uh
horror.
huh.
It's just really well executed. There's a moment as well with amazing acting when he says goodbye to one of his kids, like he's like kissing his kids goodnight, and you know the setup is obvious. Like from the very beginning, you're just like, yeah, he's running away. It's clear. But the way he delivers that line, he says like goodbye formally rather than like a good night. Like you can
Well,
tell
yeah.
he's like
Didn't she say
it's
like "Good
goodbye
night,
forever.
Daddy"? And
And
he just says like "goodbye." And it was like, oh my god, you're abandoning your children.
yeah, hell of a moment. I that like really good performance from
Yeah.
that guy. I yeah, that's so it's like only like 10 or so minutes. It's a really short
Yeah.
version, but that was a
Well, that's what's
standout.
kind of
So
interesting because a movie like this, I don't think like I think you'd agree there's not like too much meat on the bone in terms of like thematic
no,
value or like stuff
but
to talk about, but it's just so well made that I'm just like,
yeah,
yeah, everything about this
well,
movie is just put together really well.
well, the plainness of it, like one of the things is there's a scare where like the evil Santa almost gets through the window and reaches out the hands like and like I jumped when I got that. It was one of those things of like what did it surprise you? I'm like, no, it was just a plainly good jump scare. It's like
Yeah,
like and the whole movie's like that where it's just really well made. It's not it's again with the meat on the bones. It's like what is this just a bunch of anthology stories, but
yeah.
it's really well directed and all of the stories are interesting and stand out like Twilight Zone or any number of other series like this. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's directed by Freddie Francis, and people he's actually, well, at the time anyway, he was very like well respected in terms of like horror movies he's made. So I am curious to watch more of movies he's directed. Directed
Yeah, I
Doctor
wonder if
Terror's
he
House of Horrors, Dracula Has Risen from the Grave, The Evil of Frankenstein. Yeah, he has a lot of horror movies from
uh
the 60s
I
and 70s. So it's
I still haven't seen
interesting.
an actual Peter Cushing Frankenstein movie. I need to, or even just like the Hammer horror like he did
Mm,
Dracula as well, but I need to because he is a very interesting actor.
yeah.
Um
Not
any other like
sure.
specific it's
Yeah,
funny.
I don't
Well,
know. Well, that's the thing, and one of the risks we run into whenever we talk about movies that we haven't, neither of us have seen before. But it's just that we're not gonna have too much to talk about, and it isn't a movie with like I said, like a lot of substance. But it's a good
yeah,
movie.
well,
I would recommend it.
I would recommend it as well. Yeah, like I still probably have a little bit, but I will say one thing that I loved is Roy Dotrice. He's from the like Monkey's Paw part of the movie.
Uh,
That actor, he actually did the audiobooks for A Song of Ice and Fire, like all of the
oh,
George R. R. Martin books, and he did amazing. It's just one of those things. Like it's funny. Like he actually has a cameo instead of Game of Thrones. He has a small role that he plays, and it's cool retrospectively. But this is one of his most prominent movies that he's in, and it
Mm,
was just cool seeing Roy Dotrice on screen. So,
yeah. I actually
um,
really liked the monkey spa one, but I was like, I was hoping they do a little more with the concept. It felt like they didn't like do a twist because it was like the obvious thing.
yeah,
I did find it hilarious though. It's like, oh, just before the accident, oh,
yeah.
his body was mangled in the accident. What? No, it wasn't. He died before. He had a heart attack. I laughed so hard
They,
again with the
they
dark
fuck it
comedy
up.
of the movie. It's just like,
Well,
oh yeah, he had a heart attack before the accident.
they fuck it up twice. And I gotta say, that motorcycle. There's a poster of this movie
Oh
with
yeah.
just the guy with the motorcycle, the skull. It's amazing. But I just love that. I'm just like, yeah, like a motorcycle like guy with like a skull face gets him killed on the road. Like that's the monkey's
I
paw.
don't know,
Like
it
I
feels like such a like
what?
funny, like obvious interpretation of death. You know, like
Yeah,
the death, like death personified. It's just like, yeah, just a guy in a motorcycle with a like a skull helmet. That's how he dies.
this this is the thing with movies that I've talked about. I talk about this especially with music, but the word I like to use is bold. I
Mm.
love bold movies that just go for it conceptually. They'll have something. It's like, is that weird? Or like audiences gonna like that? It's just like, who cares? It's like it's cool and interesting, and I'm gonna have it.
Yeah.
Like Noah Hawley does that kind of a thing all the time. He'll just throw in things that are like they work for him. And what else do you need as a filmmaker?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there is a very interesting case to be made about like movies not being made for audiences, but being made for, the filmmaker, the story that
Yeah, the
they want
artist.
to tell. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Which I do think is a much better way of making movies than just making movies for an audience. Because if you try to satisfy the audience, um, you're trying to read people's minds. You're trying to give them what they want, and you're not really like expressing yourself artistically. Which is why how you into like come out with like a lot of movies like current Marvel that just feel very soulless, just like doing for like
Well, so
the
talked
Disney
about
live
this
action
too.
remakes, like
Uh,
where you strip away
well,
every single hint of originality or artistic expression.
and what Sean Baker talked about in his Oscar speech of like the $10 million
Mm,
movie, like that's your alternative, right? Like make something really cheap, but also like I saw the TV glow. I'm like, I want mid-budget. I saw the TV glows. Like people with a really unique vision, but enough of a budget that they can do cool shit and
anything
not
they
have to like
want,
make a
yeah.
moody little neighborhood like horror or like because the art movies that get like Oscars of like where are action movies with a really sense of I mean legitimately like who are like Edgar Wright like someone like Edgar Wright nowadays like
Mm.
who makes action movies that are really stand out and
David Leitch, I guess.
entertaining.
He did Bullet
Yes,
Train.
yeah.
He did
I,
Fall
and
Guy.
the Fall Guy, yeah. On the right, veteran stuntman, I guess.
Yeah.
John Wick kind of got a little out of hand, but I'm like, who else? I don't know. I like give more filmmakers more of a chance with more budgets, I
Mm.
say, because
Well, it
they
is.
can
It
I
is. It's so funny. I don't remember if we said this on the podcast or if you just talked about it, like not recording. But Joker is a movie that cost $50 million and grossed a
yes,
billion. It's an R-rated movie.
yeah. Well,
They just like Todd Phillips. Just you want to make a like this like Taxi Driver inspired story with Joker? Fuck yeah, go ahead. And they gave him like a good budget. $50 million is like very good, and he could do anything he wanted. Obviously, then things went out of hand with the second one, but and it grossed $1 billion. It's like, oh wow, when you take like artistic chances, these kinds of things actually work out. Obviously,
yeah, and
people
even
didn't
just
really love the second one, even though it was also taking some really bold um
well, yeah, it goes both
swings.
ways, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There are ideas that a filmmaker can have that are just bad. But that's the thing about Joker Folie à Deux. Like I don't know what that movie was doing, but my God, it the ideas didn't work. The ideas they didn't connect to the audience. They like didn't
Yeah, yeah.
work too well independently, and it's just like it was a weird.
I mean, you
I'm
could.
convinced Todd Phillips didn't want to make that movie.
I no, I think he did. I think he was frustrated by the way the movie was received, as if Joker was like one of those
Yeah.
like
Well,
literally me characters, you know, when it's like no, Joker is a bad person. Like Arthur Fleck is
it,
not a good person, and he just
it
uses the Joker persona to justify like his cruelty.
yeah, but that feels like if they made a sequel to American Psycho and they were like it's like I got it when I watched American Psycho. Yeah, like
Yeah,
American Psycho
but
gets
that's
memed
the
on for
thing
that, but
though, that like half the people who watch Joker, half the people who watch Fight Club, half the people who watch American Psycho just don't get it and think like, wow, these guys are so cool, they're literally me. Like the fucking Rorschach as well, like Alan Moore has talked plenty
yeah,
about that he made a
you
character who
can't
was like supposed to be a loser and be like, this is what a real life Batman would be like,
well
and he would be like a loser, awful person with no friends, no family, and a lot of people are just like, "Wow,
and
I'm
then
just
people
like
connect.
Rorschach."
Yeah.
It's like, okay, great, now get out of here. It's yeah.
And he's such an interesting character independently too, because of his morality and the way he sees the world. Of like,
Mm,
it's something that people can connect with, or at least understand. So,
yeah,
yeah, interesting ideas. My God, Joker.
yeah.
So, like, rounded out with Tales of the Crypt. I'm not sure. What else? Like, we kind of like. It's one of those things where like we can talk about like the specifics of the anthologies, but like you've already recommended this. I would definitely recommend this.
Mm,
This is a great film that is just a bunch of different stories. It feels like something like The Twilight Zone, where it's just independent, small, unique concepts,
yeah.
and all of them are executed well and tied together. So yeah, 90 minutes of just solid, horror.
Horror. Yeah, it's a pretty good horror with an underlying like message. It's very interesting. You can't get a movie like this nowadays, you know? Like, cause like this feels
Well,
like
other
one
than
of
like
those.
Black Mirror, like
I guess.
TV show kind of, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I guess Black Mirror would be like the closest to this, but Black Mirror is
Well,
even
have you
trying to be more than this. Like this is so stripped back and simple. Like it feels like a TV movie, you know? I don't know.
have you seen VHS? I haven't seen any of those
Not
yet, but you were
yet.
talking about like the different directors on like one film. Those I think are more anthologies rather than
Hmm.
this, but I like movies like this, just in general, like that are just uniquely structured, uniquely put together.
Yeah.
Because this, like I said, I feel like if there was something like this that came out, it'd probably be like a 6 to 8 episode mini series. I
Yeah.
mean, like for all we know, in 3 years we're gonna
Well,
get a
I guess
literal
maybe it's
Tales from
kind of
the
like
Crypt.
Cabinet of Curiosities that Guillermo del Toro did, right? The that
What do you?
it's
Oh,
an
like a
anthology
TV
TV
show? He did?
show he made on Netflix. Like he was the producer and he got a bunch of different horror directors to direct like what one-off horror stories. I only watched the first episode, but everyone said it was really
I
good.
think I, I think I heard of that. What was that called again?
A Cabinet of Curiosities.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I did mean to watch. I don't know. It's one of those things with like the anthologies where a risk is getting people on board. I'd
Mm.
heard mixed things, but
I guess the difference
huh.
is like with the anthologies of Tales from the Crypt is that it's all one director and you can kind of
Yeah,
get
more
like
cohesive.
yeah, if you like his style of horror, you're kind of going to like every one of these stories. So if you're on board in the beginning of the film, you're going to be on board to the end. With something like Cabinet of Curiosities, it's like each director gets a chance, and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to want to stick it through, you know, the entire TV show, the entire season. If you like, you watch one of the stories, you're like, I don't really like the way this director did that or whatnot. Or like Love, Death, and Robots. That's another show that's like an anthology on Netflix. So
Yes, I need to check that out too. Fincher did one of the episodes, and
yeah.
oh my.
So yeah, I don't know. It's
All right.
interesting things to be said about anthologies like this. I mean, just like Fargo, which is an anthology show as well, um, which we've talked about before. But like of having like these separate stories, but made like part of the same story somehow. I find it a very interesting concept because you're not tied down inherently to like
It's
wanting to keep continuity between like a lot of these things or like having them be connected, but having an underlying theme that connects them I think is a lot like very interesting.
now that I'm thinking about it here, it is a little bit like Haunting of Hill House, isn't it? Like separate people like going separate ways and having a separate story or something that happens to them, but they're connected and they meet
Mm.
up and their story ends together. Like, yeah, it's
The TV
huh.
show, not the book. The
Sure.
book is not like that, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, in a way, I think the TV show does more with like their ending than this. This is like, oh well, guess you're going to hell.
That
Which,
was a hell of a shot. I always love those fake fallings or like the backgrounds in cars. Like that was an amazing
mm,
shot of just the pit of doom.
yeah, it's like, what is this? How
Uh,
did we get here? And then you just like,
no.
but you fire down a pit. It was like, okay. I don't know. To be fair, it was very cathartic seeing these rich assholes get their just desserts. So you know.
Well, the last thing, by the way, the guy who got embalmed. So it's like, was it just because she did all that, right? But I'm like, it was him who was sent to hell, right? Like, what was the deal with that? Like,
Oh
am I
right, yeah, no,
mistaken?
no, yeah, you're right. No, he. Oh yeah, what was his thing? I mean, he was rich, and then he was going to declare bankruptcy, and then yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
his wife. You're right.
yeah.
He was the one. I mean, obviously, from his dialogue and everything, he didn't seem like the greatest guy, but
Yeah, but he's having to sell, like he's considering like selling out or like, like putting his business first or something like that. When you look at his house, it's like, yeah, like probably not the greatest guy in the world, but like the rest of
it
these
was
people are
funny
like
because
straight up
yeah, like it
evil.
was
Like the
called
guy from the
like
Peter,
it was all caused by his wife. You're right. That's very funny.
yeah. The other people are more direct, and like
Yeah.
especially the guy with the Peter Cushing. I'm like, it's fucked up what he does. Like, but yeah, that is a little weird. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of we've a little bit of a shorter discussion, but I would definitely recommend this. This is on I think this was on my list actually because of Roy Dotrice, because I was just curious to see a performance with him.
Hmm.
But this is a nice little horror movie, and I'm like, we've talked about this, but like somewhat vague. But yeah, just 90 minutes of great little small horror stories, thematically
Yeah.
connected,
And
and
it
yeah.
honestly such amazing special effects and makeup, like all of it just really, really good. It's
Yeah, like well, this
like
was
it's
back
straight
in
up
the
just
tack.
70s horror, like 70s, 80s
Yeah,
horror where you're just like, fuck, everything
it,
was handmade and it doesn't need to look real. It just
yes,
looks good.
it's
Like the blood in this movie is all like red paint, clearly,
yeah.
but I'm so in for it.
Well, it's the same with the cinematography. It reminds me of like Taxi Driver or Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I'm like, it's just back in the day when just film just looked cool and old
Yeah.
and like plain was like the standard for plain has dropped off
Yeah.
in recent years. Everyone associates it with like glossy
The glossy
streaming looks,
gray
but I'm like,
Netflix bullshit.
uh, not here. Here, this movie looks great. It's
Yeah.
just
Well, it's kind
plainly
of what I
great.
said. You can't get a movie like this nowadays. Like, of just like, you just get a director, give him a small budget, and he just makes a bunch of really cool horror stories with really cool, like, special effects and makeup. Like, nowadays, you kind of need to, like, blow people away for a movie to be made. You know, like, and it
Well,
would
yeah,
go direct to
to get
streaming, and it would look glossy and shit because Netflix wants to make it more marketable, you know? Like, I don't know.
That's what I've been saying is that my brother and I are actually planning to write a screenplay here soon, and we're like we have no idea like if we sell it or anything like that, but it's one of those things like I what I have it can't be made with like 20 like 10 to 20 million dollars. It's got like a lot of like fights and like action in it, but it's not necessarily an action movie. But I'm like, what would I need? Like probably like 60 to 80 million dollars, and it's an ensemble piece, but I'm like I feel bad for people that want to make interesting, bigger scale stories, and they have to
Mm.
be like, can I even afford this? It's like, yeah. The long and short of the discussion is I wish there were more movies like this where people just were given what they need and they
Yeah.
just let the creativity flow because give the filmmakers control, and they'll do great things.
Yeah, it is interesting. I love to watch Red Letter Media, and they, my favorite thing from them is Best of the Worst, where they watch, B movies
Yeah.
and make fun of them and everything. And I think one of my favorite things is seeing like these movies as like a time capsule of just like this is how movies were made at the time. Even like one of those movies that people recorded with a fucking camcorder and it was saved onto VHS and then fucking recorded onto a DVD that became a Blu-ray and it looks awful. Like there's still so much
Well,
effort involved in a lot of like the practicality of stuff. The practical effects, like they usually blow you away when you're watching Best of the Worst.
well,
Like the films they're watching.
this
It's
is
crazy.
this is a thing that's interesting to think about. Like, why is the this like flop at like and the Marvel like Netflix look and all that? We all know the cliches, but I'm like, why is a lot of that happen? Like corporate like interference, right? And like
Mhm.
affecting and like big studios and stuff like that. That's one factor. But another one that's just dead simple, it's a lot easier to make a movie
Well,
nowadays.
exactly. I was
The
gonna say,
cameras are
like,
better,
the
the
barrier
CGI.
for entry for movies got so much lower that it has made the low budget, like those, like, no budget, you get your mom's camcorder and you go shoot a movie with your friend in a fucking attic. Like, that type of movie, it's just like, it was so much better than it is nowadays because nowadays you can make anything on a computer. You can record anything in
Yeah.
4K with your phone. I don't know.
Well, and fix anything too. It's the whole fix it in post
Yeah.
idea. And it's like that's why everything has CGI backgrounds because they know they can replace things. People like they've talked about that, literally changing lighting as well, like not settling on one lighting so you can
Oh yeah,
change
they
that
usually lie from the
afterwards.
back
It's
so you can keep
yeah.
they change the background if it needs to, yeah.
It's easier to make a movie. And back in the day with stuff like this, you had to think on your feet, you had to improvise. Like the whole movie magic idea, it's just people take more substitutes nowadays. And
Yeah.
it makes sense. I'm like they're there, but it's like you need people that really care and really care about what they're filming and what they're putting on screen and have a distinct vision rather than are just like getting by. And yeah.
Yeah, there was a point
Yeah, I
of
don't.
like no return, I guess, when like because like obviously movies were always like a money making business. It was always like for profit, but there was a point where it just like became purely a business model and it stopped being
Yeah.
about like art.
Well, in something nice nowadays is that we are getting more independent studio. Like Glitch, for instance, we're getting independent animation is doing really well. Like you could argue that might be coming from the big studios with animation, but also like there's a ton more people that can just make their own movies. Like
Mm,
you can make a movie on an iPhone nowadays. I'm like,
yeah.
you had shitty camcorders back in the day and you just had to work with what you had. I'm like, it's that helps, but yeah. I will hope for more creatives to get more opportunities because I'm like I said, you could make a movie with your iPhone, but I'm like, will you make anything that people will actually watch or make anything that's actually any good?
Yeah, that is
So
worthwhile, that you actually put effort into it. I don't know. There's
yeah,
there are
that
interesting
time,
things to think about.
but that time capsule thing you were talking about of like the a movie from the 70s, usually even if it's not that good, you'll be able to tell that they cared, they put in
Yeah.
the effort to make something and put something on the screen, and yeah. That's the thing as well is like people always say that bad movies are like were better. I like saying that like back in the day like the standard for a bad movie like it was
Yeah.
actually probably all right compared to the type of things we get nowadays. So
Yeah.
yeah,
The slopification of cinema has definitely uh yeah, definitely gone on over the years. I mean, it's when we talked about Saw, it's just like going from Saw 3D to Jigsaw. It's just like, why are we doing this? Why are we
yeah.
making these look like movies? Make them look like gross. I want these movies to look gross. Like this is part of the
And not to
appeal of
mention
these
it's
movies.
still they still look crisp and interesting and they have unique like color grading and
Yeah.
environments. Yeah, an effort was put in. Yeah, just making plain Isaac everything is just, oh my God, no.
Yeah. I don't know. There is a special thing about like movies that still keep their style, even though like, because like and that's a movie that I really like. It's called It's What's Inside. Well, I don't really like. I have problems with it. Yeah, I have many problems with it, but it's like the way the movie's shot is so unique. It's like in 4:3 with all these like weird, with like a lot of film grain with this weird, with the weird lighting and a lot of like smoke and fog and like everything about it looks so cool, and the editing is so unique, and like the sets, like none of it looks real. It looks like a dream or a nightmare, I guess, considering how the movie is, the story goes. um like I don't know, I just like these movies that are just like, we don't need to look like we shot this in 8K for IMAX for, to be distributed like that. It's like we could just make the
Yeah.
movies look interesting. And usually if you tie that with like the story, why purposefully, making it purposeful, why you would have like a story be um like shot like this, then you obviously add a lot to it as well. So I don't know. It's rare now that we get like stuff like this. Like everything needs to look crisp, look like it was made now. And I don't know. I kind of like movies that don't look like that great. I don't know, like fucking 28 Days Later, like you watch the movie, like this movie looks
Yeah.
awful, but it looks so good. Like everything about it just fits the
Yeah, it's
story
a
so well.
shot perfectly for the film that they
Yeah.
were making. That's like the best way.
Yeah, and it's like
Exactly.
it's lit amazingly. Like the shot composition is amazing, but it's shot with a shitty camcorder. So it's like it's part of the aesthetic. It's just great. I don't know. And
Yeah.
it's like when they made 28 years later, they couldn't even they couldn't do that anymore. It was like, what are we gonna do? Like to
Yeah.
capture like the time it was made? We shot with a bunch of iPhones, but it's
Well,
still
well,
iPhones with a bunch of different lenses
I
and everything. It's like it's never gonna have that same vibe. I don't know.
yeah. I do think maybe that'll be a little bit of a page of the modern era, and I do like the that filmmakers are using iPhones more nowadays. For one, it'll like inspire aspiring filmmakers, but it
Mm.
also is a little bit of the modern world, shooting a film on an iPhone. I'm like, it's the cameras that we have nowadays, so may as well like make use of the technology. But yeah, 20 we might want to talk about 28 years at some point.
Yeah.
That was an experience.
Yeah, because
This
we,
is what
we
happens
we
when
talked
we
about 28 days and weeks, like right as 28 years came out, and we never talked about the 28 years
yeah, we
itself.
never yeah. This is what happens when we like don't have too much to say about. We just start shitting on like the modern cinema model and like are like it was so much better in the set, so much better.
Yeah, and it's not to be like this kind of like return to tradition or whatever, because like most of my favorite movies are still like have come out in the past like 5 to 10 years. But it is just
Yeah.
like
Well,
a
not
whole
to mention
thing
the
of like filmmaking has changed so much over the years, and that was like something a bit more innocent and pure back then, that it's kind of fascinating to look back on and compare to like the model that it is. I mean, fucking Warner's being bought by either Paramount or Netflix,
yeah,
so it's just
jeez. Oh
like
my God.
either Hitler or the
Well,
killers of cinema. Like, which one do we want? I don't
what's
know,
it?
man.
I keep thinking about Succession with that shit of just like acquiring companies and everything just getting bigger and bigger. It's like, what the fuck are we doing, guys? Like, it's just straight up monopoly at this
Yep.
point, and I it's gonna break something when you start like combining everything into one service, and it's so big. Yeah, film that's something that also is an interesting point to talk about modern filmmaking. Like, I don't think films were necessarily meant to make 2-3 billion dollars, and
Yeah.
nor should that be something that we like look up to.
Look
Like, oh
to,
my
yeah.
God, this movie
Well,
grossed
it's
like this
fucking
amount of
insane. Like Avatar 3 cost, I think, 600 million. I saw 400 million. I think it was 400 million that they confirmed. Like I saw that yesterday. And it's like, yeah, and it's probably gonna gross at least 2 billion. Like, why are we like, and I like Avatar 2 a lot. I'm middling on the first one. I like Avatar 2 a lot. And I think, yeah, I know I'm probably gonna love Avatar 3 as well. But it's just like, why did I wish James Cameron was making these movies without the idea of we need to gross 2 billion or they're not gonna let me make the next one. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean it is a business factor, and that's the thing about movies that don't do well at the box office, where it's like, well, it speaks negatively to the filmmaker, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
not necessarily, and like there are so many movies that didn't do well at like the classic one is The Thing, didn't do
But
well at the
Blade
box office,
Runner.
didn't get good reviews, but yeah, and exactly that came out the same fucking weekend. That's what's ironic about it. It's just yeah, film.
Film. Oh,
Okay.
we always have so much to talk about with film. Uh,
This is what's great though, but yeah, double recommendation for Tales from the Crypt,
yeah.
seems like so.
Yeah.
Yep.
With that, Evan,
Um,
what do you recommend for our next episode?
well, you recommended something Christmas oriented, but yours turned out to because we hadn't seen it, it was just like one aspect of it. I'm going for a straight up Christmas movie
Mm.
that apparently you have not seen, and it might be my favorite Christmas movie, period, actually. And that movie is Home Alone.
Oh, I
Have
have
you seen Home
actually
Alone?
not seen it. No, I have not. Okay.
Wow, that surprised me. I
It was just
interesting
one of
one,
those
and
movies
it
that is like very American. Like every child in America
yeah.
watches that when they're growing up.
Yeah,
It's just not a thing here in
my
Brazil, like to
yeah, I
watch
was
that
about to
movie that
say,
much.
yeah, I could see that. And well, yeah, it's just yeah, I don't want to say too much, I don't want to spoil too much. Chris Columbus directed it, John Hughes wrote it, and
Macaulay
I think it's
Culkin.
amazing. So,
Yeah.
yep. All right, Home Alone. That the first Home Alone. And if I, it's funny. My brothers and I did a retrospective a while back, and I think Home Alone 2 is like low key overrated. I think it's kind of I have problems with Home Alone 2, but the third act kind of makes it worth it.
Mm.
Yeah, but the first one is all that I'll like assign us. But yeah,
I
my
couldn't
recommendation is Home
do
Alone.
the crazy thing I did with Saw and watch all of them.
Watch them. Oh my god. Well, my brothers. Oh my God. There's one that they made that recently, I think in 2021. It's one of the most cynical movies I've ever seen. So everyone says that it feels like a Reddit post. I'm not kidding. It's just one of those things. I'm like, that's one of those like, oh, I'm like, yeah, you could do that, but like, it's never gonna happen. Like, what if we did this with Home Alone? I'm like, it's it's off. If you've never heard of Home Sweet Home Alone, good for you because that movie was like actual trash. Yeah.
Is it like what
If
Freaky
you
or Friday?
oh
Like one of those like
well, let's just say if you're delving down the Home Alone rabbit hole, you're in for a wild ride. They're all none of them are as good as the first movie, but
mm.
some of them have their strengths and weaknesses. It's a really weird franchise. The truth is it never should have gotten a sequel. It's just
Yeah.
one of those movies that works well on its own. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, I imagine. We had that conversation when we were talking about Saw. It was just like he could have just been one and it would have been great. It's not, so let's talk about more than one. It's it's interesting. These franchises, like the same with Friday the
eh,
13th, Nightmare on Elm Street.
yeah.
It's just a bunch of like, yeah, this is a great movie. Like, yeah, now let's make 20 sequels. Like,
Let's
what?
franchise it exactly.
Yeah. But it is so
Uh,
funny when you can compare you compare like the franchisification of movies in the 80s and 90s compared to now. Like now if it's
yeah,
just
well, it's
extremely
cinematic
cynical.
universes
Yeah, and
and yeah,
but
it just
if you look at Nightmare on Elm Street 2, you're just like, "Wait, this is actually good. Why like, like you wouldn't expect that from a sequel like that
well,
nowadays." Like fucking
well, as
Black
well as
Phone
that,
2.
just
I have not seen that yet, but why did we make a Black Phone 2? You
well,
know what I mean?
well, that's the other. I'm like, I don't know how many of those is that because Scott Derrickson and the oh man, I forget the guys who works them who writes, but is that because they wanted to make that film, or was it just
Or
one of those like, hey, the first Black Phone worked
yeah,
out, like
like
let's just make a
Jason Blum was just like, yeah, let's I don't know.
yeah, even 28 years later you could say that, but I'm just like I don't know about film because like I that screenplay that I mentioned that my brother and I have, like I have ideas for a sequel.
Mm.
And it's what like you haven't even written the first, but I'm like there is a direction I want to go and I have
Yeah,
ideas for a sequel to my own story and I'm like I don't know how many sequels are made because the filmmaker wanted to make the sequel, or did they just
yeah.
make another one? Like Die Hard's like that too, and Lethal Weapon again
Die
with the
Hard, yeah.
80s versus where we are now. Like, yeah,
But I've heard like some of the Die Hard sequels are good too, so it's like I don't know. It's
well,
interesting.
what's nice about sequels like that is, I'm like, why did they make another one? I'm like, to make another one. I'm like, the movies kind of treat it like that. It's like, how did this happen again? It's like, exactly. It's like, yeah, it is weird that this keeps happening. So, yeah, yeah. The Home Alone. If you want to go down that rabbit hole, be my guest. But
Yeah.
the first one's great. That's Home Alone is what I'm recommending. So yeah.
All right, Home Alone it is then. All right, folks. Well, thank you very much for watching. Um, uh, I hate doing this, but yeah, if you liked, give us a like and a comment.
Like, comment,
Subscribe.
subscribe, share.
Yeah, if you're watching on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, follow. If not, you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. You can get access to these episodes a week earlier than they are released publicly. If you are a member on YouTube or Patreon, and I think that's it. I think that's it. Okay,
Yeah.
I hate
Well,
shilling.
to shill my I'm gonna take a turn to shill, by the way.
Oh yeah, your
I am
video's
working
closed,
on
right?
yeah. So it's funny. I'm like it I finished the visual editing, so I have no idea how long it'll be before it's done. There's a couple of sections I actually need to add and like ADR and stuff like that. But um the most of it is put together visually. The only other thing is like quotes and polishing it up, but oh my God, I can't wait to show you a full draft. It's gonna be great. I do think it's probably better than my original video, and it's a great companion piece to that video. So it's look forward to that soon. But visual editing is done, and I'm well at work on another video. So check
Hell
out
yeah.
check out Slow Horses if you want to watch my video. But that's what I'm working on right now. So yep.
Yeah. I have started compiling notes for a new video as well, but I'm not gonna say what it is or whatnot because there's
Yeah.
a chance I might not
Uh,
even make that video and focus on another project. Who knows?
yeah, she's got an idea, and I'm curious. Like we haven't talked about it all that much, you and I, but yeah, she's cooking something. She's got something. So, yeah.
All
Good.
right. All right, folks. We'll catch you next week for Home Alone. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Catch you later. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.